Okay, so hello everyone. Um, so in this video, what I want to do is I want to show you guys how to do linear inequalities where there is a fraction. So I have these four examples here. And of course, I will also explain how to write them in interval notation. So it says solve each inequality. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first one. Okay, so here we have this linear inequality. Now, the important thing here is to actually, you can do this two ways. One of the ways is you can get rid of the fractions if you want. However, you have to be careful with how you do that. Another way is you can also subtract the fractions on each side and then, do it like you would a usual or a regular inequality. So with the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do it by getting rid of the fractions. So what I'm going to do here is, because I have these denominators over here, I can get rid of them by multiplying by that denominator. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and so I want to get rid of 2. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 2, right? And so then this would give me, so with distributive property, we would go ahead and get x, and we would get plus 10 over 7 is less than, and then of course you distribute the 2 to this one. So really the way that this would look would be something like this, where the 2 is also being multiplied over here. Okay, so then it'd be 2 times 9 halves, that's going to be 9. And then 2 times 1 over 9x is going to be 2 over 9x. So plus 2 over 9x. So then the other thing that I want to say is that you can also get rid of the 7 here, right? So again, we're just going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 7 to get rid of that denominator. So doing so, we get 7x plus 10 is less than, and we're going to get 63 plus 14x over 9, okay? And then lastly, you want to get rid of this denominator here. So again, you're going to multiply by that denominator on both sides. So we're going to multiply times 9 here and times 9 over here. So then that'll give you 63x plus 90 is less than, and it'll be, one second. So then you would get something like this at the very end. And then finally, now that we have gotten rid of all the fractions here, we can just solve it like a usual, like a regular inequality. So you can subtract 14x on both sides, and then you can do, so we have 63 minus 14, which is, hold on one second, so 63 minus 14 is 49x, so we have 49x plus 90 is less than 567. And then we would go ahead and say 567 minus 90 would be, so we would get a 477, right? So minus 90 on both sides, and we get 49x is less than 477. And then lastly, you would divide both sides by 49. And then that would give you the inequality. So when you do that, we would end up with x less than 477 over 49. And so in interval notation, it would be from negative infinity to 477 over 49. You can also do it as a decimal if you want. As a decimal, it would be about 9.7. So you would say from negative infinity to 9.7. So that would be the answer for this. And if they wanted in inequality form, this would be the form in terms of an inequality. So yeah. Okay, so this one, we're going to do this a little bit differently. So this one, I'm going to try and do it, by subtracting fractions. Now this method takes a little bit, it depends on how you see it. The only thing with subtracting, like working with fractions, is you have to get the common denominator, etc. So right here I'm subtracting 7/2 x on both sides. So this cancels out, right? And then I have 17 over 5 minus 7 over 2. So, of course, you can get your calculator and see what that is. Now, if they don't allow you to use a calculator, you can do just the common denominator. So it'd be like 34 over 10, and then minus 35 over 10. So this would be negative x over 10. At least I think. Hold on. 17 over 5 minus 7 over 2, just to make sure. Yeah, it'd be negative 1 over 10. So this would be negative 1 over 10x, and then we have plus 1/2. And then over here, we have negative 109 over 40. So I can bring this down, and the inequality symbol, bring it down. So then we have negative 109 over 40 is greater than or equal to negative 1 over 10 plus 1/2. Negative 1 over 10x plus 1/2. Another thing I like to do here is I usually like to rewrite it a certain way. So I like to do this, where I put the negative x up here, and then, the 10 on the bottom, and then plus 1 over 2. And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 1/2 on both sides. And this becomes, so we have negative 109 over 40 minus 1 over 2 is greater than or equal to negative x over 10. So this would be, so again, you would get the common denominator, so times 20 times 20, so then you would get negative 109 minus 20 over 40 is greater than or equal to negative x over 10. So then you would go ahead and say, if you want the common denominator here, you would do times 4 on top and bottom. So then that would give you negative 109 minus 20. Negative 109 minus 20 is greater than or equal to negative 4x. Because in reality, when you make the denominator equal, so a over b plus or minus c over b is greater than or equal to d over b, then that means that a plus or minus c is greater than or equal to d. That's basically a rule, right? So then we use that rule, so then we have negative 129 is greater than or equal to negative 4x, and then we go ahead and divide both sides by negative 4. And the thing is that when you divide by negative 4, you have to switch the inequality symbol. So it'd be 129 over 4 is less than or equal to x. So then x is greater than or equal to 129 over 4. So then in interval notation, we would go from 129 over 4 to infinity. Okay, and this would be your final answer for this one. Okay, so let's see. So this one, like I said, it depends on what you find easier. If you found this method easier, then go for it. But I usually prefer this method because that way you get rid of all those fractions that are pretty frustrating. So I'm gonna do it the way where you get rid of the denominator. So we have 13 over 4x minus 2/5 is greater than negative 2/3 x plus 7 over 8. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to write it down, I'm going to multiply both sides by 4, right? So really, I'm going to do that to both sides. Okay, so we have 4 times the quantity 13 over 4x minus 2 over 5 is greater than 4 times negative 2/3 x plus 7 over 8. So then this would, when you distribute it, we would get 13x minus 10, or minus 8 over 5 is greater than negative 8/3 x, and then plus 28 over 8. And we can reduce that, right? So 28 over 8 is really 7 over 2. So we can convert this to this, right? So we can say plus 7 over 2, right? And now we're going to try to get rid of, so that was the first step, right? Multiply both sides by 4. And now we're going to try to get rid of the 5, so this 5 here. So now step 2 is multiply both sides by 5. So we would do that, so we're going to go ahead and let me just rewrite it really quick. So we're just going to go ahead and multiply both of these sides by 5 to get rid of that 5 in the denominator, right? So we have 5 times 13 is 45, is it? Or no, 65, right? So this is 65x minus 8, because it cancels out, is greater than, and it's going to be negative 40x over 3 plus 35 over 2. Now, again, we're going to continue to get rid of the denominators. So now, number 3 is to multiply. So now, multiply both sides by, and we're going to look at 3, right? So multiply both sides by 3. So then this would be 3 times the quantity 65x minus 8 is greater than 3 times negative 40x over 3 plus 35 over 2. So then this would be, so let's see, 65 times 3 is going to be 195x. So we have 195x minus 24 is greater than negative 40x, because it cancels out, and then plus 35 times 3 over 2 is about 105 over 2. So like this, right? And now lastly, we're going to multiply by 5, or not by 5, by 2, excuse me. So number 4 would be multiply both sides by 2. So then we would do this, and then we would also do this, right? So we would get, so 195 times 2, let me just write this down. Okay, so this is what I would get at the end. And now we're going to try to get rid of, now we're going to solve for x. So we're going to go ahead and add, so number 5 would be to add 80x to both sides. So we're going to do plus 80x and then plus 80x here. So then this would be 470x minus 48 is greater than 105. And now we're going to go ahead and add 48 to both sides. So that's the other step. So number 6, add 48 to both sides. So then this cancels out. We get 470x is greater than 153. And then lastly, divide both, I literally can't write today, both sides by 470. So this would be divided by 470, divided by 470. And of course, if you have a calculator, you can always see what that is reduced as a fraction. Some of these don't reduce, so okay, so it'll just be, so then your answer will be x is greater than 153 over 470. Now, in interval notation, notice that this is greater than. So the way that you would write it is, this is going to be parentheses 153 over 470, comma, infinity. And this would be your answer in interval notation. Okay. Okay, so this one, this is the last one of this video, so. Okay, so again, you can do it however you want to do it. I usually prefer doing it by getting rid of the denominators, just like we did in the last problem. But again, you can do the other method as well, as long as you get the same answer as I do. So I'm going to do it by getting rid of the denominators. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. And then I'm going to do, I'm going to start to get rid of my denominators that are in the way. So my first step is going to be to multiply both sides by, and I'm going to say by 7. So here's 7, so I'm going to multiply both of these sides by 7. Okay. So I'm going to get negative 3x, and then plus 28 over 5 is less than or equal to negative 14x over 3 plus 12. Okay. So I'm just distributing the 7, right? So then number 2 would be, again, so we're going to try to circle the one that, the denominator that we have, the second one. So I'm going to say multiply both sides by 5 to get rid of that denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So times 5 here, and then times 5 over here. So then I'll get negative 15x plus 28 is less than or equal to, and it'll be negative 70x over 3, and then plus 60. Now, 70 over 3, I don't know if that divides out, so let me go ahead and check. Okay, no, it doesn't. So, I just wanted to make sure. So then here, so now we have a denominator right here at 3. So now the last step would be to, or not the last step, but in terms of getting rid of our denominators, we would say multiply. So multiply both sides by 3. So when we do that, we go ahead and just multiply by 3 on both sides. And we're going to get negative 45x plus, and it'll be, is it 28? It's like 84 plus 84. So we're doing distributive property. And then this is less than or equal to, and it'll be negative 70x plus 180. So now our other step would be, so number 4 would be to, we're going to go ahead and add 70x to both sides. So when we do that, we get, so it's going to be 70 minus 45, right? So 70 minus 45 is 25. So this is 25x plus 84 is less than or equal to 180. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and, so number 5 would be to subtract both, subtract 84 to both sides. So we'll do minus 84 on both sides, and then this would be 25x is less than or equal to, and it would be, let's see here, 180 minus 84. Oops, 180 minus 84 would be 96, right? 96. And then we have, and then the last step would just be to divide 25 on both sides. So divide by 25. Divide by 25 on both sides. So, so we would go ahead and just divide by 25 here and here. And then again, I'm just going to do this one more time to make sure that my fraction matches up. So it would be x is less than or equal to 96 over 25. And again, you can do it in interval notation. So it'd be from negative infinity to 96 over 25, right? So, and if you want it as a decimal, again, it'd be, oh, and it would be a bracket. As a decimal, it would be from negative infinity to 3.84, approximately. So this would be your answer, and this would be your answer as an inequality. So that is how we do linear inequalities, guys, with fractions. I really did try to make these as diverse as possible, and also I did teach you a few ways to do it. So it depends on what method you choose. Again, you can choose this method where I literally got rid of my denominators, or you can do it this method where I went ahead and just subtracted the fractions. But if you don't like doing that, then you can get rid of your denominators like I did over here as well as here, and on number 4, even though it's not showing up. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. And also please like, comment, and or subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.